Doesn't appear anybody's in chat yet, so that's good. I get to give the rundown, and no one will hear it, except for you who are watching at home on the replay. What happened last game? The big news is that uh, our very own missing mod, number 2 in the cult, and Ken Ham had a baby. Well, not quite a
Good.
baby. We had an egg,
Sounds good. Hear me?
which I am going to try to nurture
Hear me at all?
into our first child indoctrinated disciple. Woohoo! Yay! It's exciting, right?
My sounds good. So, hey everybody. All right, we are testing out stuff. Right? That was S. Lewis. This is my camera. Camera two. Camera. So when we're doing stream stuff, that's supposed to kick right now. Sound is coming. Switch. Okay, how's the sound now? Better? Should be solid. Sound is solid. Okay, so I bought a mixer and the mixer ain't working for crap. I got a Go XLR Mini and it is not working. And it cost me $100, so I'm a little upset. That being said, hey, how's everybody doing today? Okay, so the Go LXR is a bust. I will probably get rid of it. Well, I mean, the sound's working. You guys are able to hear me, so it's definitely working as a pass through. So at least there's that. Sound is good, right? You can hear my voice totally clear. Okay, so sound is working as a pass through, but it is not working as anything else. Let me see if does that work? Can you hear that? No? How about that? If I do that, does that do anything? Anything happening there? Nothing. Okay. What is it using as a mic? Oh, it's using the camera as a mic. It's not even using the GoPro, the pod mic. Oh, okay. So I bought that for no reason. Let's see what happens if I use the headset on here. I'm so upset. Let's see how if this makes any difference. Okay, how's the sound now? How's my voice? Good? Okay. So I'm using this mic and not the super expensive Rode mic that I bought. No, I don't know how to fix it. I got the cloud lifter thing for it too. Got the boost, got everything. It's just not working. Very disappointing. You know what? Let's try it straight through the motherboard. This is that mouse. Hold on. Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. Did you get up? No, I know, but I gotta get up there. All right, let's try this straight through the back. Do I even have a second? Yeah, I have one right here. Okay. Let's try you instead of through the Thunder port. Try you through here. Okay, now it's directly in line with the computer. We'll see if that changes the sound settings at all. Everything's on now. Okay. See if that changes the power output or anything. Okay, guys, if you're watching right now, I'm so sorry. You're about to lose signal. It's not me. Promise. I'm not trying to be a jerk. All right, let's go through. Okay, this one is that mic. Do we have sound on mic? Okay, that one has sound. Is it good sound or not? Okay. Okay, I have no idea what mic this is. Any sound? And then here is this guy. Oh, what the- Hmm. Yeah, it's opening up the wrong thing. Okay. So on the plus side, you guys can hear me. On the downside, audio is not great. Camera's good. Audio is great on this little mic. It's a little headset. Thank you, BS. I hope that this is the greatest show you've ever watched. Me messing with audio settings. So how's atheism going? I heard you had to quit and become a professional gamer. Throwing bombs. Throwing haymakers today. Want to come on? Help us troubleshoot how this shit works. I revamped my studio, as you can see. So YouTube is going to be this camera over here. And Kick is going to be this one. Right now we're doing it on YouTube. And then Vimeo. I'm going to do a Vimeo on that one over here. So this will be Kick and I think Rumble. No, this is going to be Kick and Twitch. That's going to be YouTube and Rumble. And then this is going to be Vimeo and something else. And we already have the scene set up. We have the blocking done. The only thing is getting the audio right. I actually paid for the expensive version of StreamYard, and it has less useful settings. So for those who are watching, let's say some controversial things. See if we can get people to start talking. Catholicism is the only true religion. Atheism is false. America is the greatest country in the world. Let's see. Gina Carano did nothing wrong. Bread of Life is the best player on Cult of B.S. Lewis. She's the best player. Okay, said some controversial things. Let's see how that. See if we have ourselves a nice staging area. still don't know why Go LXR is not stable. Does it need extra power? Doesn't say it needs extra power. I'm just messing with this thing now because, like, at this point, I just wasted money. Other typing? Is America better than the Vatican City? Dude, what are you, non-American? Of course. Vatican City controls America. Didn't you hear? Vatican controls the finances of the world. Okay. Inline, outline, does that make a difference? How do I add? Do I boost something to this? No idea how to fix that. Okay. Here, there's an invitation, B.S. Lewis. You can talk to my cousin over here.
I heard it was Israel.
There's a little standing invite to my infinity room that never disappears. Here, look, you can get a $10 discount if you join today. StreamYard. That's for you, BS. I know. I saw your 3-hour stream. This is also going to be where I do the gaming stuff. It's going to be off this PC, but it'll be through there. It'll be as a pass through, so that way my my big ass tower. You like how I found a use for the Hunger Game novels? Um, no, this is just a test. I'm just trying to get things working. We're trying to get monetized on all three. I only have two main things going on right now, but I want to get monetized on all three platforms, and I want monetization to start working. It's poetic. Yeah, beautiful. And I have a little Mac Mini now for editing. Let's see what else. Look, I bought another Rode mic, completely useless with the DLR, XLR, whatever. The DSL. There we go. No, that's not what it's called. Whatever the stupid EOS 10 is. R10. Is this for that? That one didn't work either. I had to end up getting a Logitech webcam for my A cam, and then for my B cam. And then I'm using my Elgato Facecam Pro as my A cam. Then I have a little Razer Creo over here. I'm down to debate breakfast tacos. What's he doing? Is he live right now? Where's he at? I'll debate him. Let me see. Hold on. Breakfast tacos. Let me plug this guy in because I don't think this thing's charged yet. Yeah. Okay. There it is. Subscribers only mode. That's so cheap. I mean, he's just gaming. I'll resubscribe to him just to do this. Fine. There you go, BS. No, I didn't click the well, I subbed anyway, so there, he's got one more sub. It's close to monetization now. How's it going? Do we have echo?
Property.
Super Catholic over here. I was actually going to put Super Catholic on the intro. I'm actually testing out my new studio and my new equipment, and the Go XLR Mini doesn't work for crap. Don't buy this, people. Yeah, I'm Catholic. Depends on how you count. If you're talking from baptism, then since I was like a year old, if you're talking about since I rejoined about 10 years ago. I was 33, I'm now 45. So a little bit more than 10 years. Uh, yeah, I did CCD when I was a kid, and I dropped out of the church. I left the church right before my uh not my first sorry, my confirmation. So basically, it was just a redoing of all that. It was actually pretty interesting because I'd only read the Bible through maybe once or twice when I did my adult RCIA is what it was used to be called. So that was kind of cool to do that as an adult. How's the sound? You okay? Sounds bad? Sounds good? Okay. No, I left the church for unrelated Christian reasons. The At the time, I was about 12 or 13, and I had just gotten strong enough that I was able to beat up my bullies, but my bullies were beating up my friends who were not as strong as me, I guess. And basically, my mom had died, and I was friends with like the one black kid in my school. I was friends with like the one out gay kid in my school, and I was friends with there was someone else. I think it was like a girl who called herself a witch or something like that. She was just a weird chick, but she was cool. Uh, that was enough to make me an outcast. And so when I saw how they were treating people, I didn't want anything to do with them. They happened to be Christians, not Catholics, but Christians. And so I was like, screw that. I don't want anything to do with these people. It turns out, teenagers are just jerks. So if I would have waited a few years, I would have met some cool Christians or Catholics, but I didn't have patience for that. Hmm. Not at all. I was a practicing Taoist for 15 years. Um, so after short version, when I was in school, I have dyslexia. So I was in what's called resource. It's higher than remedial, but it's lower than actual. And they were gonna give me when I was about to graduate. They do that like counseling thing. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're not getting a degree. You're getting degree equivalent. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I had to take like this IQ test. Turns out that at least in the school that I was at, I had one of the highest, if not the highest IQs. So they put me in like all these advanced programs. And I went on a career track to philosophy, and that got undid by me having a cancer scare at age 25. So I stopped doing TA and I stopped doing all of that, and I went into martial arts. And I taught martial arts for 15 years, and I was a practicing Taoist the entire time I was teaching martial arts. And then I married a Chinese woman who hates everything having to do with Taoism and Buddhism and all that kind of stuff. So, that was she's an atheist, but she's an atheist against the Eastern religions, not really against Christianity. She doesn't really care about that. So, we're separated, but we're still together. Yeah. Mhm. Debate me. Ask me something. Hit me something. Hit me up. Hold on. We're playing with audio here, and my assistant is saying that she can't hear you. Give me 1 second. What's going on?
I can't hear them at all.
You can't hear them at all?
No. It looks like you're just talking
Yeah,
to
your
yourself.
guys' sound isn't coming through on my computer. I have no idea why. All right. Here we go. Try it again. Guys, can you say something? There should be sound. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll just keep going, and then whoever's watching my channel can just listen to me talk to myself. It'll be great. They'll think I'm crazy. Um, so, um, can you ask me again? What was the question? Sorry. Okay. So I actually made a video on this, and I believe you actually, Breakfast Tacos, responded to the video, and you didn't like my answer at all, which is that I said that there, uh, there is no logical reason to get there because you're talking about a faith based belief. There's no way to logic yourself to God, just like there's no way to science yourself to God. It's the wrong tool for the wrong thing. Short version would be miracles. Longer version would be um, the way that my life has played out has been on the supernatural side, not on the uh, physical side of things. So I'll get into that just real quickly. I've had 3 or 4 major religious experiences in my life that include me losing my ability to walk from diabetes and having diabetic muscle loss, which you're supposed to be unrecoverable from. I had a 14 A1C. If you don't know what that is, 12 is dead. I was at 14. And through prayer, meditation, and hard work, this is why I went back to church. If you want an answer that's not intellectual, the intellectual answer is that I had a problem with Paul. So I started going to different churches, just every single denomination I could find to get answers. But I prayed. I said that if I could kneel for 1 hour, I would go to church, and I did. I said if I could walk for more than an hour, I would go to. I would start looking into a religion, and so I did. And then there was a third thing, which was becoming Catholic again, is if I could run for 6 miles, and I did. So I went back to church. Mind you, it took a lot of hard work. I had to change my diet, and I had to I started off like walking like a minute a day, and then I would collapse, and it took about a year. So yeah, it's tough. And for the people in the chat asking why 12A1C is dead, 12A1C doesn't mean that you just have one sugar spike. It means that you've had 12 or higher sugar in your blood. Your blood is basically like molasses. It's just pure sugar. Your cell walls can't open, so you can't get nutrition. So you're just getting you're starving yourself because of how much sugar you have in your body. The nutrition just can't get into your cells. Yeah, I mean, I'm Catholic, so yeah. So I have three, just like I had three different things there. I have three responses to that. I'll go with the at least what I think is the most entertaining, but also the most complete answer, which is the other gods and goddesses. There's room for that in the Bible. I mean, just listen to Dan McKellen or Kip Davis or Mythvision. There are other gods mentioned in the Bible. The way that most Christians have understood this over time is that these are just fallen angels, abstracts, different things in the supernatural world, or created beings that are outside of our reality but are part of the created reality that are divine. So yeah, there's other powers in the world. There's in the Bible it says roughly the same thing, so it doesn't contradict the Bible. It just says there's only one true creator God. By God. No, not at all. Not necessarily demons. I mean, the if you believe in I don't really believe in demons or ghosts. We can get into that in a later discussion in this part, but let's just, for the sake of this argument, say I do believe in demons and ghosts. Um, the supernatural world is full of different level of beings and creatures. The classic is powers, dominions, and thrones. So yeah. So basically, within that realm of creation, for instance, I believe in a thing called the abstracts. That's something I do believe in. So I would not, I'm not bothered by the idea of there being other supernatural beings that are less powerful than God that have rebelled against God or that were created by other minor deities, gods, lowercase g, and that they themselves confuse themselves for gods through their own self delusion. That's fine with me. I don't really have a built up mythology like that, but if I did, it doesn't bother me. People have made that argument throughout history, so I would just say that I think I'm correct, and it's a matter of difference of opinion. We'll find out after we die. Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you two different questions, but they're both the same kind of parody answer here. Um, why do you choose? I'm assuming you're American. Why do you choose to be American? So you're telling me right now you can't leave to another country and get a different citizenship? So why don't you? But so why don't you? Why not? Why don't you want to just become Canadian? I mean, that's pretty much American light. So if my life is good following Christianity, specifically Catholicism, and things work out better for me when I'm practicing a Catholic faith versus, let's say, a secular faith or Taoistic faith, or you know, I studied Kant for a long time. So when I'm not acting utilitarian, my life's actually better. Why would I want to change to an atheistic or secular worldview if my life plays out better when I don't do those things? If we're going to go with the nationality metaphor. I mean, if you don't mind, if you don't mind, breakfast tacos, I do want to address something that you put up on the board. Angel, can you please get my diabetic book outside of the guide from the Jocelyn Center? My entire family is diabetic, and my mother and sister both died from diabetes. My mentor who taught me martial arts, he actually got all his limbs cut off. So I can tell you right now, this guy doesn't. This guy who's countering me on this, I'm not okay with that. I'll argue about God and philosophy all day. I will not fuck around when it comes to diabetes. I'm sorry, that is not okay with me. So so if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't know how much lag there is on here. Okay. So this is from the Jocelyn Center. This is a diabetic center here in the Rio Grande Valley where I'm from. This is a guide on what happens when you get sick with diabetes. It explains where you're at, what happens if your diabetes goes too high, how all of that works. Um, so I don't know if you guys can see it or if it's backwards for you all. Is it backwards? Okay. So yeah, whoever that guy is in your chat, he needs to stop talking shit because he will get people killed. So this is the real information, and this is what you should follow. Don't play around with this. People really do die from eating too many donuts, from not exercising, from not taking their insulin, from not taking the metformin. It's not a joke. And I'll like I said, I'll debate religion all day and not get offended. I don't play around with this. So that guy needs to shut the fuck up before he gets someone killed. That's all. Sorry. Mhm. I have a. I used to be much deeper than I am now, but Obius Lewis is saying I need to share the Audible toggle in screen. I don't know how to do that. So basically, no one can hear you guys so at all on my channel. Not that that's a problem for you all, but yeah. Anyway, let me continue. So what were you saying again? So I was I have an associate's in philosophy of humanities of arts um, from when I was 25. I said there's like three incidents. This is one of those incidents. I had a cancer scare. It ended up being nothing, but it was a stomach cancer scare. It was like really scary. And I thought my life was going to end. So I dropped out of school, spent all my money, became a drunk. I did. This is long after I had left religion and long before I went back. I didn't go back to religion because of I thought I was going to die or anything like that. I went back to religion because I didn't want to lose. I had made a deal with God, not knowing that it would work. Put it that way. But when it came to life or death stuff, that really wasn't the motivating factor. It was more of a quality of life thing. So when I was 25 and I had the cancer scare, I didn't go to church or to God to get an answer. I went to a strip club and basically spent all my money getting drunk and eating a lot of food and buying a lot of CDs. If people remember what CDs are, I have a huge collection of CDs from that time period. Um, and but I never lost my love for philosophy. So I just kept reading philosophy. Most of my books are philosophy books. Most of my religious books are at least until the last 3 years, are philosophy of religion books. I study a lot of Eastern stuff, Buddhism, Taoism, a lot of Eastern philosophy, a lot of Sun Tzu, some Machiavelli, and Western stuff. Um, I kind of, after the Enlightenment, post Enlightenment, I don't read much beyond that. I love ancient Greek philosophy. I love the pre-Socratics, and I have a lot of knowledge about Asian philosophy because I was a martial artist, and I found it useful when I was uh, teaching my students. Both. They would say that the Catechism comes from Scripture. I've read about 20 or 30 different collections of Church Father writings. I've been reading through, I've already done all the ecumenical councils. I read that a while back. I've done all the um, everything that's inside. There's a Bible, an ESV study Bible that is just called the Confessions and something else. So uh, all the ones that are collected, canons and creeds and confessions, I think is what it's called, that are collected in there. I've read all of those. I've read all the ecumenical councils. I have the collection from Shaft, and I've also read through the majority of all the church fathers that are collected in the Liturgy of the Hours, which is the official prayer of the Catholic Church. It also includes writings from the church fathers in there. So I've read all of that. And then I've been reading through the last few years a lot of Kierkegaard. I love Kierkegaard. A lot of John Christensen. A lot of Origin. I actually have videos dedicated to Origin on my channel. Different books like this. I can't remember, but I think I have. I've read pretty much everything by Origin except one book that was just kind of boring. But I've read the uh, sorry, that guy really is annoying me. Um, ask me again because I wanna argue with this guy, and he's just being a troll. So ask me again. Um, I'm not 100% sure. I might have, but I know that Origin has a lot of lost work, so I don't know if that's a lost work that's just pieced together through fragments, or if that's like a full commentary. I've read through his commentary, I believe, on Genesis, and his commentary on Psalms. I know I've read that. Well, all the church fathers are Catholic, so it doesn't matter if they're East, West, whatever. The church fathers were Catholic, so the division doesn't come until what 1300, and then the big division in the West is not going to be until 1552. So the anything pre the church schism with the Orthodox, with the Greek Orthodox. By the way, for those that don't know, who play these games at home, uh, the Greek Orthodox call themselves Catholic. It's only a distinction here in the West where we call them Eastern Orthodox. They consider themselves Catholic, and the one true Catholic Church subsists in the current Catholic Church from Rome. But the one true Catholic Church is all five patriarchs. Actually, technically all 12, but the other, you know, seven don't exist anymore. But all five patriarchs put together, that is the Catholic Church. And until that unity reunites, the Catholic Church isn't whole. Isn't whole. Say that again. My cousin just got up to go take care of something. I've only read Luther's works, and I've only read a little bit of Zwingli. I haven't read anything by Calvin at all. I have him in my collection, but I have such the reading list of the Church Fathers is just immense. I'm never going to get through it. And so you know, well, it's faith. I mean, God has to come to you and choose you. That's literally what not only what the Bible teaches, but what most Christian denominations teach, including the Catholic Church. It's God has to choose you first. If He doesn't choose you, the Holy Spirit doesn't choose you, there's nothing that can be done to make you believe. It's purely a faith thing. Well, the way you just word that right now, you're saying that your desire is what's making the Holy Spirit move. So then no. That if that's the wording of it, then no. It's God has to choose you first. You're predestined to. Well, He's the one who gives you that first call. He's the first call. If He doesn't call you, you're never going to believe. And not all who are called will answer because you have free will too. So it's actually two different parables in the Bible answer this directly, which is so not everyone will be called, not everyone will be saved, and those who want to be saved are only saved because God knew you first before you existed. And then from there, those who are called, not all will answer. And even those who answer, once they get into the party, if they are wearing the wrong kind of clothing, which who knows what that means, you get kicked out of the party. So even getting into the gates of heaven doesn't guarantee you get to stay. Mm. So you're kind of scattershotting there. Which one of those do you think is the most egregious of the three, of the four? So God created everything, including the inclinations toward good and evil. Our perspective is that it's good and evil, but I don't think things like suffering or viruses or even cancer should be included in evil. The condition of the suffering, you can call it an evil, but I don't think those are evils in themselves. Those are evils because they affect us and they cause us to have suffering. Yeah. Yeah. No, no, thank you. That if I viewed that this reality was the only reality and that there was not something afterwards, possibly if that's all that you know. But if you're assuming that the suffering has a reason, then you all get to heaven, and in heaven, none of this will matter. If, on the other hand, I mean, my answer would my answer would be I wouldn't know. I mean, I'm not God. I would have no idea what the reason is for cancer to exist, outside of that it's important to cycle out dead and dying material. I have no idea. Why would I pretend to know such a thing? I, I I'm not saying that he even has a reason. I'm saying that if there's a reason, only God knows, and I'm not able to know God's mind. That would be a level of arrogance that no Christian should cross into. I don't. I wouldn't be able to even comprehend what the reasons could be. I disagree with the intuition altogether because those are all caused by other choices, by free will, and free will multiplies. Free will is very complicated. If you want to talk that, now we're talking philosophy. I can talk that all day, but that has nothing to do with God. Those are real world consequences of human choices. That's what I just said. Yes, because we have free will, and if we don't have free will, then we have determined will. Yeah, he created everything. From our perspective as a believer, sure. Prove it. Prove that all the interventions, even the one that I just talked about earlier, is from God. I believe. Hold on for 1 second. Hey, I know, guys, that you're not able to hear the other side. I'm trying to figure it out right now. That's why I'm doing this test stream. Sorry, when we do our stuff on our channel, it won't be like this. All right. Sorry, keep going. I'm sorry. Sorry. Well, I believe that he answered my prayer, uh, but he could have helped me by letting me help myself. So just to let you know, let's just fast forward a little bit on this because I've heard this conversation before and it doesn't go anywhere. Fast forwarding, our prayers do nothing. Our prayers do not affect God. They do not change God. Our prayers are simply there for us as believers so we can have a better relationship with God. But our prayers do not change God's mind. Not if we're going based on the classic theological understanding of God. Now, if you want to go based on a pre-theological, pre-Christian understanding of the oldest book of the Testament, then God changes his mind all the time. But that's not the level or the understanding of God by a modern Christian, whether that be a non-denominational Christian, or whether that be an Anglican, or whether that be a Catholic. It doesn't matter if you're Protestant or not. If you're any type of high church or confessional Christian, you believe in the Christian of classical theology, not the God of the Old Testament as understood by the then Israelites. Yes, it's the same God, but our understanding has changed. So their understanding was that God changed his mind every time that God granted one of their, let's call them wishes. But our understanding is that God is not a genie, and therefore we can't change God's mind. So therefore, whatever prayer is doing is not changing God's mind. It's divine predestination. It's really just there for us to feel like we're having an effect so that we can build our relationship with God. Sure. No, yeah, he wills all to come to the truth, but that's his passive will. That's not his active will. If something was his active will, he would, by definition, make it be. No, I don't believe in double predestination. I believe that through free will, because I'm a believer in free will, that you can choose hell for yourself. You can choose to deny God. Now, if I was a Calvinist, which I'm not a Calvinist, then yes, I do believe that some people are born destined for hell. But there are people who are born, in the Catholic view, born destined to heaven. There's nothing you can do to get them out of that. Everyone else, it's a crapshoot. And by the way, for those wondering and playing at home, the ones who it's not a crapshoot for, it doesn't mean that they're the people who are already saints. It would be the Virgin Mary, Jesus, Elijah, and I believe who's the other one? Abraham. That's it. And Enoch. And Enoch. Well, I don't think Enoch is. I can't remember right now if that's Catholic or if that's Orthodox in our canon. I don't. Yeah. You know who I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of Elijah and the other Elijah, whatever you pronounce it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely Enoch just completely slipped my mind. So I couldn't answer that just 'cause I can't remember right now. Yes, except for those select few who were predestined for heaven. But again, the number of people who are predestined for heaven on their own accord, like from whatever, that is going to be very few. It's only a few that are sinless. So few that the Bible says there's no one who's sinless, and then immediately then says, "Here are the sinless people." So, yeah, uh, if you're not Abraham, you're not Enoch, you're not Elijah or Elijah. If you're not Jesus, you're not the Virgin Mary. You know, the only guarantee you have is that God will forgive you, not that you'll accept His forgiveness. So I think what you're saying is too esoteric and too divided. Let's put it in more concrete terms. So God was willing to save me from diabetes, but not my mentor and not my mother and not my sister. Yeah, you're not God. Um, I added Elijah. I mean Elijah. I added Enoch into the list only because of our conversation. I don't use him as my example, but the other ones was Abraham, Jesus, Mary, Elijah, and Elijah. I that doesn't necessarily mean they got directly into heaven. Again, that doesn't mean heaven. I don't have a thing to address for that. That's fine. And that's what he thinks. That's cool. I'm still not able to get audio, by the way, on my page for you all. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Well, he's definitely all good, all knowing, and all powerful. We just don't understand why he would allow these evils. Like maybe, like, okay, let me ask you this: do you think any of the evils are gratuitous, or do you think they're all purposeful, or any of the suffering? Sorry.
Can I answer that slightly differently? Because I was gonna go where you just went anyway.
Yeah,
I had an
sorry.
answer in my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say was that things that we consider evil from our judgment might not be evil from God's judgment. So the classic one would be slavery. God doesn't condemn slavery in the Old Testament, and any Christian who tells you otherwise is lying to you. So why would we pretend that what we judge to be good or evil is what God judges to be good or evil? He lets the rain pour on the good and the bad alike. He lets the sun shine on the good and the bad alike.
Ecclesiastes.
Would you
Amen.
condemn slavery for us?
Why?
I just want to know if you support slavery or if you condemn it.
I don't have an opinion on it. I think it's a terrible condition, just like cancer and diabetes.
So slavery is immoral in all instances.
That's not what I said. I didn't say it was moral or immoral. I said it's a terrible.
Oh yeah, so
terrible
is
condition.
slavery moral or immoral?
It's a terrible condition. It's a condition. It's a.
But is it moral or immoral for you to own somebody?
Is it moral or immoral for you to give someone cancer?
Well, it'd be immoral.
Why? So if I give you a
Because
cigarette,
you're probably
no, hold on. If I give you a cigarette, if I give you a cigarette, am I doing an immoral action in your ethical worldview, non-religious worldview?
How accurately did you describe the repercussions of smoking?
Is this really where you have to go to? Like, you can't just answer if slavery is moral or immoral. Like, I can say slavery is immoral in all instances.
I think under my
Your turn.
current ethical understanding, it's immoral currently.
In all instances, for all time.
Nope, I don't agree with that.
Well, it always includes the same amount of agency. We're talking about humans. So
no, because
there's no subjectivity.
I am a slave. I am a slave to God.
No, that's disingenuous. You're not a slave.
No, I am a slave to God. That is what
because you chose to believe.
No, God chose us beforehand. There's no choice involved.
Then why don't
God chose who's? Because God didn't choose you.
Okay, that also wasn't a choice.
I just said I believe in predestination. I don't know where the confusion's coming from.
Well, you appealed to choice. Didn't what? You appealed to the lack of choice for slavery.
Again, I believe in predestination.
So, you see, like things like seem. Do you think humans get the like? Okay, let me ask you: do you believe that there's any gratuitous suffering, or do you think all suffering has a purpose?
So I disagree with Thomas Aquinas. So I believe that not everything has a cause and not everything has a reason. Some things just are. And if you want to call that gratuitous, then there is gratuitous action. There is chaos. There's void. Otherwise, what did God conquer in the beginning when it says God conquered chaos and void? So I do believe that there is chaos and void. That's very unique. That's not a Catholic. I want to be very clear. As a Catholic, I have to say this. That's not a Catholic belief. That's a personal belief of my own.
Well, whether it's gratuitous or not, is it necessary?
Again, I don't have the intelligence to answer that personally. Probably not. But from God's perspective, probably is. I don't know.
So, do you think that it's possible that God could do things that seem to be gratuitous suffering to
From our
us,
perspective,
from our
sure.
perspective? Okay. So do you think that God could be deceiving you about all of your senses and your perceptions for higher reasons beyond your understanding?
So let me counter with this. Did God send evil spirits to tell the prophets to lie to a king?
Yes.
So there's your answer.
Okay, so God could. It's possible from your perspective
I
that
mean, it's literally in the Bible, so I don't know why it would be impossible. The Bible's saying that's what God has done, and God has said He'll do it again.
okay, so you could even be deceived that about everything essentially, right? Like you could be like a brain in a vat sort of situation.
Yeah, but again, that now we're going into philosophy. We're exiting theology.
Well, I think it's related if you think that if you believe in a God who can seemingly permit or do.
So in Islam, and I've read the Quran as well. I've read all of the Holy Scriptures except for one book. There's only one Holy Scripture that I haven't read. Two technically, but I'm currently reading the Book of Mormon. In Islam, God is the greatest of deceivers.
Yeah. Well, people translate that differently. Some Muslims will object to that, but okay, yeah.
In the Oxford Study Bible, it has it that way.
I know.
In the Al-Bukhari translation, it has it that way. So no, that's the translation. It's a good translation.
Okay. But so you take it that okay. But that's not like that's not in your tradition. Like you don't affirm that. Do you?
I'm a Catholic. Go watch Reason and Theology. He had like 3 whole videos dedicated to this. It's not something that bothers me as a Catholic. As a Protestant, I'd probably be going crazy right now because I believe that as a Protestant, I would believe that the inerrant word means that
Real
it cannot
fast,
have-
Alpha. We have paid and mutes on this channel, and somebody just muted you for 2 minutes. So I guess Howdy, you can keep talking for a couple minutes while Alpha's muted. I'm starting your timer now. Thank you so much for the super chat, Cody.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a cost in philosophy if you're unable to rule out skeptical scenarios like that, I guess. Also, I don't know. I don't like to talk too much about like the ethical stuff, but I just take it that seemingly gratuitous suffering is evidence against classical theism. If someone had told me an all-knowing whatever created reality, it's just unexpected on that hypothesis that there would be this sorts of stuff. So I just take it to be evidence against the position as well. So that's sort of where I'm at, my sort of struggles with it. Also, it's seemingly totally unjust and arbitrary to predestine some to eternal life and leave others for eternal damnation as well. And so I'm not sure how I could reconcile that with any conception of good or justice. And if you appeal to him just being beyond our understanding, then I'm not sure how to respond to that. I mean, if the words are just different, I don't know, but certain, I don't know. I guess it's like,
Howdy, would you say that not being able to say that slavery is bad is a cost to your theory?
yeah. So I'm a moral realist. I think that slavery is wrong. I think that's there's certainly,
Welcome back, Alpha.
ambiguous situations, but I think it's pretty clear cut that
let me ask you this, okay? Since you said slavery is always wrong in every situation, I'm going to give you 3 situations, and you tell me if it's wrong in these situations, okay?
I'm not sure if it's categorical. Like
No, no, you
and
said
I'm gonna,
it's always wrong. So
no, I didn't.
a,
I said it's wrong. I didn't say it's. I'm not. First of all, I'm a consequentialist, so I could easily stipulate, like, oh, would you enslave one person to save 10 billion people from being tortured?
no,
forever?
that's not where I'm going at all. I'm not that kind of philosopher. Okay, so in a dominant passive relationship between a consenting couple and the other person in this relationship, maybe even the person who has the financial power outside of the relationship, chooses to have a slave relationship with their master in their home, is slavery wrong?
Well, I take
Cody
it
just
that
muted Alpha for 2 minutes. Thank you so much for the super chat, Cody.
it's okay. I'm responding anyway. Yeah, I just take it that slavery, like on the definition of it, is what's it called? Like forced. And so if someone's not being
It's-
forced, I
yeah.
just wouldn't consider it slavery.
It's the definition of the word.
Yeah,
There's
that'd be
no
like
reason-
role playing slavery. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, there's no reason to appeal to people pretending to try and justify what the actual definition of the word is.
And I think if like the person withdraws their consent, then it would immediately
Then
be
it-
wrong.
Then it would immediately be wrong and no longer role playing. Yeah, so no, that doesn't work.
I mean, I don't have much more to say on that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cut and dry.
But so like one situation, yeah, prison, yeah. The one is that, well,
Prison
There's-
systems are bad sometimes. Yes.
was that technically inmates are considered slaves according to the Constitution. Now, I understand
Yeah,
that
they shouldn't be.
California did a proposition against it and it didn't pass. So yeah, I would agree with most of the prison practices. Oh, I don't know what that means.
It
I
says
think prob-
outside. It was kind of cut off. Outside. what?
Yeah, I think certain prison systems are bad. I don't agree with a lot of the practices. I don't agree with
Yeah, just disconnect prisons and slavery. That's so. Who cares?
well, I mean, it depends like what exactly we're referring to. Like I would disagree with like for-profit prisons. I would disagree with some of the practices like the where they are incentivized to arrest and sentence people. I wouldn't even mind pass like actually I would pass them. to
Welcome back, Alpha.
remove their status as
Okay,
slaves.
so
per the
what about
Constitution.
what about internships? And you want to go back to ancient times to view it in a more negative way? Someone who starts off as a gladiatorial student, they go through indentured servitude, and they eventually get their freedom if they perform well. If they don't perform well, they're stuck being a slave forever. But this is still a system that we use today in different businesses.
It's still
Well-
not chattel slavery, which is justified in the Bible.
No, that's not what you said. You said slavery is always wrong. So all types of slavery are always wrong. That's
Well, I
what you
didn't-
told me.
No, I didn't
No.
use those words, but I'll to respond. I don't think that I just wouldn't consider.
You said that
that
I couldn't
first to
say
be
that slavery
slavery.
was bad. And I said, no, slavery is bad according to our modern ethical understanding. But according to the understanding of the people of that time, slavery was not bad. And that's what the book is. It's a record of people's understanding of their own history. By the way, a mythical history that might not have ever actually happened. So you're like cutting straws for some unknown reason between, hey, this fantasy world has a way worse ethical system than the actual world where it was terrible. Like real slavery existed in the time period, regardless of whether or not what the Bible reported is how actual slavery actually happened. When they're just projecting back so that way they can look forward to say, hey, when we're in charge, we're going to have a better system. You know, it's purely hypothetical. Their system of slavery never existed because it only existed in their imagination. Here you go.
No, I'm not. Well, I didn't bring up the slavery thing. That was Taco, but I'm not sure. Like, I would just say that slavery is wrong, and like we can go through like different examples, like to make clear what I mean by that. So I don't consider.
Cody says 2-minute mute. Justifying slavery is a crazy position. Thank you so much for the super chat, Cody.
So like you had mentioned, people working internships, I don't consider that slavery. No, I don't consider contracts slavery. Although I do consider some contracts
Coerced, yeah.
well, I would consider a lot of contracts void, either through coercion or you can't sign a contract where you enslave yourself and these sorts of things. I don't think that I wouldn't affirm any of that sort of, but like contractual obligations and internships, I wouldn't consider slavery personally.
Yeah, dude. No.
What's with the
Yeah,
with
we're
the
sure.
face?
We're sure. We're just waiting, dude. We're just waiting till you're back.
Yes, are you saying I should consider it slavery?
Internships?
Yeah,
Okay, today I learned interns gain nothing.
well, they're just not forced.
Yeah, that too.
All right, we're making the defense for slavery. Here we go.
Just come back and give a definition of slavery, dude. You
I
have
don't
to.
even want to stay on this. It's like I didn't lower the living. Yeah, you could imagine like wage slavery and wage suppression to where it's hard to tell. Like you can maybe blur the lines between slavery and not slavery. But I'm obviously against all those practices as well. So. Where I live is common, and I'm sorry to hear that. I would change that if I was in charge.
Yeah. Yeah, like these diet slaveries are bad too. So the one in the Bible is really bad.
Well, to be fair, I wouldn't.
Welcome
consider-
back, Alpha.
So
I don't
where
think-
I live in the Rio Grande Valley, there's actually active slavery here for illegal immigrants or even legal immigrants who can't get good work. And so they work for less than minimum wage for people who don't care about them. And this minimum wage is not even enough for them to survive. What they're doing is they're taking the money and they're sending it back to people who live in Mexico where that money is helpful because it's more than what they're making there. But their life here is horrible. They live in the places called colonias. And in these places, there's no running water, there's no power. But for some reason, there's always a good, expensive car in the front. But there's these houses
Oh,
are
dude.
tiny little areas. And this is real. This is not like
I agree.
metaphorical.
No, I understand. Like I totally, I'm against that as well.
Yeah, but
bad.
you being against it and it being something that people
Alpha just got a 2-minute mute from Dave Gar. Thank you so much for the super chat, Dave Gar. That's greatly appreciated. And for clarification, when I was saying that slavery was always bad, and Cody H has a question for when that comes off. Do you want to be a slave, Alpha? But
He is a
for clar-
slave on his position to righteousness, according
is
to
true.
Romans, I think 10 something.
But for clarification, when I said that slavery is always bad, I was talking about chattel slavery as what we see in the Bible.
Well, he takes it that it might not even be historical though, so he's not sola scriptura, so we can't really
No,
drag him
well-
through the Bible on it.
I mean that.
I
feel
wasn't
like you
talking
have
about
to-
indentured servitude or being underpaid because you committed a crime and you're stuck in prison. I was talking about actual, literal, generation to generation slavery.
Well, either way, the Bible describes chattel slavery, and then it also is bad to coerce people. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I'm against wage suppression. I'm against immigration exploitation. I'm against
yeah, it's all bad.
prison slavery. So I don't think I'm inconsistent, but maybe. Oh, he's out on the next mute. Rip.
Instead of muting him next time, you guys should just do a $25 kick then.
Or just send them questions.
Or
That'd probably be
send him
the best.
questions. That
Yeah,
could work
send
too.
questions.
So part of the program here, Alpha, is that you do get muted if you rage quit from mutes. Generally, I don't invite them back, right? So I don't mind
But
providing you some potential growth opportunity here, or debate opportunity, content opportunity, whatever you want to look at it as. And you're unmuted, but I would not threaten to leave on a
It's
mute
not about
because
it's
I
not
just
about
stopped
rage
bringing those
quitting.
people in.
No,
Cody H
it's
said,
not about rage
"Do
quitting.
you want to be a slave,
I have
Alpha?"
I am a slave. Actually, his answer was my answer.
Gotcha.
I have stuff to do in the morning. I have to go to work. So like,
And Cody
I have
H
to go out
says,
anyway.
"I feel like it's slavery isn't slavery." IMO.
No, slavery is just slavery. But the problem is that you're using words to try to justify a position that's not actually held to defeat a position that was never actually in existence. So it's like saying, okay, so because bad people used a fictional, idealized version of slavery to justify their treatment uh, of slaves in the United States, somehow that version of slavery is worse than other versions of slavery. Well, I'm someone who followed what's his name? Why can't I think of his name right now? Come on. He's a famous Stoic. He wrote before
Seneca.
Seneca. There we go. Seneca was a slave, and he described it as being one of the worst conditions in the world. But he still said that he gained things that he could not have gained outside of slavery. So while slavery is wrong, and while from our perspective, it's always wrong to have that type of slavery, all types of slavery are not the same type of slavery. So I'm a slave to Jesus Christ. I'm not able to do the things that I want to do because I have to do things that Jesus wants me to do.
Okay,
Using
and
that language.
And Austin says, "Draw a unicorn on your driver erase board or get muted."
okay,
I still have to leave in
when
like
the
maybe
Bible
6 minutes.
when
Okay.
Okay.
when the Bible says
Draw a
that,
unicorn.
when the Bible says that it's God's word, is it God's word?
That is an amazing question. I've wrestled with that a few times in my life. So the first time I tried to read the Bible, I couldn't get through it because of the giants and the people living for a very, very long period. So I think it's people's understanding of God. I don't know that it's actually what God verbatim actually said, if God actually said anything at all, considering that God is supposed to be the whisper that you can't really hear. And these people are saying that he talked loud and clear. And then in the very next second, God is saying, but I didn't say that to you.
And
So-
Hayden Walton is asking, "Does Alpha vote Republican that support low wages?"
I am a Republican.
So you do support
So-
low wages.
When God,
That's a beautiful
Very
unicorn,
good.
Alpha. Thank you.
Well, I've been soaking up a lot of time. I just saw Kurt pop on. You got like 5 minutes if you wanted to chime in.
yeah, correct.
Oh, I haven't even really heard any of this. This is all novel to me. I wouldn't even know where to start.
When God
Rand-
says you can take male and female slaves from the nations around you, what is he talking about?
Oh, somebody's.
Hello?
Is he still muted or what's
No,
going
no,
on?
no. He's not muted.
What's going
Alpha,
on?
they're asking. They're Alpha. Can you hear us?
I didn't hear anything. Am I still there?
No, we hear you and you hear us. The guy was asking you about like the Leviticus stuff, and he's asking you, can you give a exegesis of like taking slaves from other nations, and probably the one where you have them and their children's and stuff.
Yeah, you keep their
Well-
children and they get passed on to your children, etc.
So that never happened. My best understanding would be that that's what happened to them, and so they're trying to justify their own trauma and their own situation in Babylon, since most of this is written post.
Oh shit!
So
Howdy
that-
just got a 2-minute mute.
Wait, so
Uh,
that's not God giving a law?
Well, it's a man writing the story. So
Well, the man wrote the entire text.
Wait, so you're postulating that these narratives are written during the exile, like the
Yeah,
actual
do you
post
guys
exile.
pretend to be
they're
Christians or
post
anything?
exile.
Yeah,
It's written
that's
post exile.
accurate.
That's not me postulate. I can't say the word right now.
Yeah, I'm just
That's-
surprised to hear a
that's what it
Christian
says.
admitting that. That's actually true.
I'm like I'm on a I don't want to say this because it sounds like too braggy. There are people who do this for a living who I'm on a first name basis with. I'm not on the Trent Horn side of things.
So you
or
don't have a
James White type of
historical
thing.
exodus. You're not a young Earth creationist. So what draws you to Christianity?
We talked about that earlier. A miracle, basically three big miracles in my life.
Did you write them up? Get the $1 million
So there was a cancer scare. There was me losing my ability to walk, and then there's this one. The last one's too outlandish, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Me driving off an unfinished highway and surviving.
So you get $1 million if you prove there were miracles
From who?
from the Templeton Foundation.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, you should write them up. You might get $1 million.
I doubt it. I'm Catholic, and Catholics are big on miracles. I don't have any locals down here, and this is all Catholic community.
Are you
Everyone
going to
here
try to
is
get canonized?
Catholic.
You're going to go for
that doesn't have
canonization after you die?
That's after I'm dead. I don't have a say in that, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you have to write it up now so they know what they're talking about.
I'm not worried about it. If I get to heaven, I get to heaven. If I
Alright.
don't, I don't.
So it's like you believe there's a heaven, even
Mhm.
though you don't think that creation happened in the Garden of Eden, and
No, I
that the
believe-
books written.
I believe that
were written to prove a point.
Welcome back, Howdy. You're unmuted.
Like you believe there's a heaven, but you're in touch with reality.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Can I go back 5 more minutes? I'm gonna go. I said I was gonna jump out, but I'm gonna go about 5 more. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm fascinated by this. Like, you seem like you're not a conspiracy theorist as much as most of the Christians, but you believe there's a heaven.
I'm a Catholic. I'm not a Protestant, so my beliefs are more grounded.
No,
but
we've
we
had
still
plenty
believe-
of conspiracy theory Catholics on here.
I was about to say we still believe in things that you guys wouldn't agree to. For instance, the virgin birth.
Wait, you believe? Oh, so you believe in the virgin birth? Okay, well that's cool.
And
And you think
transubstantiation and stuff like
Jesus'
that.
body goes into your body, and that's
Immaculate Conception,
Well,
Assumption Mary.
we believe that it's theosis, which is a concept most former Protestants aren't familiar with.
So I know what theosis is, but you're saying it's not biologically, organically Jesus-y material?
I believe in theosis, and I don't know what the substance. What is it? The accidents.
So
don't
you're
change
saying
what
it's
the substance is.
spiritually substantial. That's very close.
I don't know. I'm not able.
Very close to
say
Protestant
anything there.
theology.
Because I'm a Catholic, I'm not able to speak on that publicly.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
can't
So
do
but
that.
get back to heaven, how does it work for you? Like you think it's a real place?
I don't think it's a place, but yeah, I do think heaven's real. I do think all.
So it's not a
spiritual bodies-
place.
Yeah, no, because it's a created something.
Howdy
it
just
is a
got a
place.
2-minute mute again. Howdy's getting slammed by Cody right now.
I mean, when you go somewhere, you're going to a place. So the word "go" is meaningless unless there's a place.
No, because God exists outside of time, outside of reality, outside of creation. So wherever
So you're going to
after
go
creation
outside of
exists-
time.
Yes,
which
we're
is
gonna.
to a place outside of time.
Once we're outside of time, we're no longer in time. We're no longer in space. We're no longer in this reality of any kind.
Okay, so will you interact with other individuals there, or is it a theosis?
It's theosis. We're becoming one with God.
Oh, well, that's not a thing. Okay, that's fine. That's reasonable. So you don't think there's like dogs and rivers and
I
New
want to believe that
streets
dogs
of
and
gold,
rivers really have
mansions,
souls,
any of
and-
that?
So I'm hoping that all souls become one with God. I'm
Okay, but Jesus
hopeful
says
heaven.
there's mansions in John, right? He says
that's
there's mansions.
metaphorical. Yeah. It's
Okay,
metaphorical.
great. Yeah. That's very metaphorical. But
If you
why
actually
wouldn't you just
read if you read the Shepherd of Hermas, there's a much better explanation for what
I am
this means by
currently
nature.
reading
Oh,
the Shepherd
shit.
of Hermas.
Sorry to interrupt, but Howdy just got unmuted, and he's got $2 protection potion on him.
Nice.
Ah,
Right, Howdy.
Hermas.
You,
No,
you were
keep going.
muted and I jumped in.
No. You can keep going. Well, he's
Oh,
running out
okay.
of time. I didn't have a question though, so you can go.
So I'm just really curious because like if you can see how like written to prove a point, like not really historically accurate, all that happens with the Hebrew scriptures. Where's the disconnect with the
true.
Gospels?
What do you mean? There's no disconnect. It's
Well, the Gospels
it's
are
still
clearly
writing.
also books told to prove a point.
Yeah,
that
that's what I was
assume
just
knowledge
saying.
that they don't have. So why would you accept the virgin birth? Mark doesn't even describe a birth.
Because liturgy and prayer and tradition are older than the Bible. The Bible's based on the tradition that existed at that time. Again,
there's not good evidence for that.
Yeah, there is.
No, all of that is Eusebian. You're talking about essentially 300
you
years
have to-
after
so-
the events.
Something has to first happen. We don't know what.
No,
that
not
was.
necessarily. The
then
thing that
something
can
has
happen
to-
first is someone wrote a book, as you know.
So again, assuming that there was a Jesus, which I'm not a mythicist, I believe Jesus is real. So first something happened, then people talked about it, then people wrote it down.
No,
What they
there's
wrote
no
down
evidence
is
of
not
the
necessarily.
second step.
Oh, what they wrote down is not necessarily how things were being spread out, especially when there's at least 72 different versions going on. And
Yeah, yeah.
then what actually happened is not exactly what was being told. And there's a space for the Protestants. There's a space for that in the Bible where it says more happened than what can be told in all the books in all the world.
Yeah. But let me be clear to you and explain what the actual record is. The actual record is we have texts, and those texts show up highly like intertextual. They're drawing on Homeric motifs. They're drawing on ancient Near East motifs. They're drawing on the Hebrew scriptures. They're drawing on Josephus. They're drawing on Philo of Alexandria. They're drawing on Platonic allegory. They're drawing on all these different intertextual sources, right? And then nobody says anything about them largely as modes of conversion, right? People talk about them for the 2nd century, and in the 2nd and 3rd century, they're discussed. But they're never discussed as the reason I became a Christian. They're discussed tangentially. The reason people say in the 2nd and 3rd century they become Christian is because it's a great philosophy that merges their natural understanding of natural revelation with a wonderful philosophy of great ethical behavior that is superior in every way to the Stoics and the Epicureans and the Neoplatonists. They don't even center anything on the historical existence of the man Jesus. They just consider him their Lord. Look at Tertullian, who says, I believe in the resurrection because it makes absolutely no sense and can't be justified. This is not somebody who's saying, oh, I heard it from so-and-so, who heard it from so-and-so, who heard it from so-and-so, who knows it.
I've read Tertullian. He's actually one of my favorites. It's too bad that he's considered a heretic. But let's just ignore the heretic part for a second. Everything that you just said is what I say when I'm teaching. So I don't disagree with anything.
So where's the oral tradition? Because you mentioned an oral tradition. There's no evidence for it. The first evidence of the oral tradition, no, there's no evidence for it at all. The first evidence is in Eusebius.
The fact that the first churches existed before there was written gospels, because I was about to say,
no, the gospels precede the theology.
You're missing a huge element here, which is that there's a gap between when the gospels started spreading to when the gospels were written down. There's just a huge gap. And
unquestionably, but the question is, are the gospels books written to prove a point, which it seems like you agree, that draw on highly intertextual tropes to prove that point,
I believe
and may or may not have a historical nidus.
Okay, I'm going to answer the question for the 3rd time because maybe you're just not hearing me. I believe the Bible's literature first.
Right.
I don't see what your problem is.
The virgin birth. The virgin birth is just
because that's
Greco-Roman.
dogma.
Okay, so you don't think it's real.
I
You're
do think
Catholic,
it's
so you
real.
believe it.
I believe it. So I believe in the Bible only because the Catholic Church tells me so.
Okay, and if they
Famous
change
method
their
quote.
mind, you would be like, "Ah, that stuff all never made sense."
They're
to me in
never
the
going to
first
change
place."
their mind. There's stuff that they can't
Well, they
change
can't.
their mind about. Yeah, they're not allowed to.
Okay,
It's dogma.
so
They
I
can't
just feel
change their mind on
then
dogma.
you're just on a two truths level here, where like you can understand where this book is coming from, but you can't like fully understand it in a way that you can admit.
No, I've been studying it for well over what was it? 2005 is when I started studying the Bible
Okay.
hardcore. And then when I started understanding the Bible, and I'm not arrogantly saying I understand it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when I started to understand it, I was probably like 33. So it took me like a
Okay.
good 10 years, a little bit less, for me to even kind of get a concept of what I was reading. For me to understand the Bible, I'm going to finish on this, and then you guys can say whatever you want. Then I got to opt out.
Okay.
I had to, when I tried to read the Bible without reference, it was impossible to read through because there's too much stuff that's hard to believe. When you start looking at the little footnotes on the bottom and you start reading the other books that the Bible's referencing, that's when the Bible started making sense to me. So I had to read through the Epic of Gilgamesh. I have to read through the Mesopotamian myths. I had to read through the Greek myths. I had to read even some Eastern esoteric Hindu myths to really understand what the Bible was doing. Because once I had those reference points, it all made a lot more sense.
I mean, I think that like certainly yes, to understand what the Bible is doing, you need all those reference points. But once you understand what the Bible is doing, it doesn't seem very controlling. I mean, intellectually controlling. It seems very controlling in the sense of like a controlling, manipulative guy, because you have to understand that 95% of the people who are converting couldn't read any of those texts.
That's what I was trying to get to with the gap thing, but you kind of told me to shut up, so I stopped saying it. But that's what I was getting to, which is most of the people could only hear an oral tradition. They couldn't read. So
Right.
the people who would have been converting in before, like before there are 4 gospels, when there's only a Matthew, when there's only maybe a
No.
partial Luke, these people are converting in based on an oral tradition. They're not in
No,
there
they're
reading
they're
these
they're
texts.
not converting to what you think of as Christianity. They're followers of John the Baptist. They're Essenes. They're
Mhm.
getting involved in the ritual meals and the washings and all that stuff. And there's no
I
like,
watch religion for breakfast too. I don't have a problem
there's
with
no
anything you're
Christian
saying.
story going on during this time that we would identify as Christian at all. The destruction of
Why?
the temple.
Why wouldn't you identify it as Christian? I would identify it as Christian.
Well, Eusebius identifies it as Christian as well. I would identify it as not Christian because it's not supersessionist yet, right? The plesiomorphic state, even if you take something like Fourth Ezra or any of Philo's works or a lot of the works from, Second Temple post Daniel, these are all plesiomorphic in that they do not supersede the Hebrew scriptures and assign them to a new custody group.
This is the last question I'm going to
Christians,
ask because I'm very low on time. This is the last question I'm going to ask you. Do you believe you have to have developed theology to have Christianity?
no, but you have to have developed supersessionism.
I got to cut off there. I have to go to work.
Sure.
Guys. I'm sorry.
All right, thanks for all your time. You were pretty well spoken. Hopefully, I can get to talk to you again.
Yeah, it was cool talking to you.
All right.
Put in a good word with the Catholics to anathematize Origin for me. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, poor.
We never got sound from them, right? Oh, we did? Okay. All right. And we're going to end, let's end the stream so it's not just showing forever.